From the demented and brilliant mind of Tim Burton, little green Martians come to Earth to attack and leave a path of destruction and carnage along the way, leaving an all-star cast of Earthlings, led by Jack Nicholson as the President of the United States, at their mercy. In Mars Attacks, this is today's review. I have the DVD here, but it's probably on Netflix. I love this movie, and it's so weird to me, like, I was just reviewing, I had watched and reviewed Independence Day, and this came out like literally the same time, like months apart, maybe a couple of months after Independence Day came out. This came out, and they're both kind of doing the same thing, where they took like a concept of 1950s Martians attacking Earth, flying saucers attacking kind of stuff, as well as kind of like the all-star cast, a disaster movie kind of thing, and updating it, where with Independence Day, they updated it to be like more kind of a legitimate movie, but still keeping that same kind of spirit. Here, it's absolutely like a spoof of that and totally making fun of it. And with like Independence Day, they kind of updated the special effects to make it sort of realistic and convincing, things like that. Here, like the effects are totally cartoony. This is a silly movie, but it's brilliant in my opinion. And it is actually, you know what? Well, for one thing, I think it's just in general an underrated movie. And I do actually think it is among Tim Burton's best movies, in my opinion. I just think it's absolutely brilliant. And it almost works better today than it did back then, because having it be released like a little bit after Independence Day, it definitely was spoofing like 50s movies, but in a way it was almost like a preemptive spoof of the like revolution of crappy disaster movies that would come. Like, you know, you see all the movies that followed after Independence Day, like, you know, asteroids hitting Earth, Armageddon, Day After Tomorrow, weather, frost chasing people, and all that stuff, where it has the all-star cast, and we're supposed to take it seriously. Here we're not supposed to take it seriously. It is definitely a spoof. It is definitely silly, and it pokes fun at that. So this almost is like ahead of its time in a really weird way, which I love. There's just really fun stuff in it, like the aliens invading. They look like these goofy cartoons, and they're really fun. You know, they have their weird language, or like ack 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 ack, and they're just like these little assholes. There's really entertaining scenes where they're just on a path of destruction. Like we see them at like the Taj Mahal taking pictures like tourists and like blowing it up, and they blow up the Washington Monument and try to crush a bunch of Boy Scouts. They play bowling with the Easter Island heads. They completely deface Mount Rushmore and put Martian faces on it, and silly weird stuff like that. I think it's just such a fun movie, and kind of what I love about it most is that we always kind of wonder with these movies, like, what the intent of the invaders are. Like, what are they trying to do? Are they trying to make peace? Or are they trying to do whatever? Like, with Independence Day, there's that one scene with, like, Bill Pullman where he's like, I read the creature's mind. It says they want to just invade and destroy and use up resources, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, okay, whatever. Here, it's like the whole aspect of kind of the first half of the movie is, like, trying to figure out, did we as Earthlings do something wrong? Did we offend them in some way? Because like they have like the translator thing that like translates the ack-acks into human English language, where it's like, we come in peace. And it's like, okay, then someone releases a dove. Dove means peace. And the alien's like, holy shit. And then shoots the dove, and then boom, it's like this whole big attack. They're shooting people with their ray guns. They have these red and green ray guns that like evaporate people into like little skeletons that match the color of the ray guns or whatever. So the whole thing is like, okay, we must have made a mistake here. Birds, maybe they don't like birds. Meanwhile, and I don't want to go into too many spoilers, but basically the whole deal is nothing. These aliens are just, they're assholes. That's all. That's it. That's the simple concept. They just want to cause shit. I really think that's what it's about. So I don't know. Maybe there's some lesson to be learned there. Like, I remember there was if you remember the show 30 Rock, there's an episode where Condoleezza Rice, she guest stars, and she's like, my favorite movie is Mars Attacks. It's awesome. Or I think maybe like this has a little bit of lesson about like goodwill relations, where maybe sometimes you just can't go through that. Maybe sometimes people just want to fuck shit up, and destroy you. A harsh lesson to learn, but maybe true. So I liked all that. And of course, I love the cast in this movie. The cast is brilliant. Of course, Jack Nicholson, the biggest star in the movie, he plays the President of the United States. But he also he has two roles in this movie, which I think is funny. Not just the President, but he plays this sleazy hotel owner in Vegas who thinks, hey, aliens are invading. I can really benefit from this. It's a really goofy role, which apparently originally was supposed to go to Michael Keaton, which would have been amazing. But I mean, two Jack Nicholson roles for the price of one. That's not too bad. And of course, fresh off his popularity of James Bond, we have Pierce Brosnan in the movie. He's playing the scientist who's trying to figure out things about the aliens, trying to figure out what they're all about. He's really good. Sarah Jessica Parker as this kind of silly news reporter, like the schlocky kind of talk show. Michael J. Fox is her boyfriend in a competing show. Annette Bening, she's great in her role, almost unrecognizable Annette Bening, because she's like playing almost this pastor prime hippie chick. She's like has like a shady past where she's a recovering alcoholic. Danny DeVito also in a smaller role than I would have hoped, but he makes there are no small actors, only small roles. Or wait, switch that. But anyway, he's great. And Glenn Close is the first lady. Natalie Portman is in the movie, where, like, that's another thing about this movie. They have these actors who weren't really that huge at the time, like Natalie Portman, and like Jack Black. He's in the movie too, and he plays like the soldier who's like gonna help fight the aliens or whatever. And he's like kind of doing this like Forrest Gump impression almost throughout the whole movie, which I thought is pretty funny. So that was kind of cool to see. And so Rod Steiger as the defense secretary who kind of knows the cards being dealt the whole time. He's like, we have to kill these aliens, annihilate, kill, kill, kill. He's great. Jim Brown is in the movie playing a boxer, and his wife played by Pam Grier. Joe Don Baker, Martin Short, Paul Winfield, who's really good in the movie, playing this other military guy. So many people in the cast. I mean, we got even Tom fucking Jones in the movie, playing himself, which is kind of the funny stunt casting that they put in the movie. And there's a really good scene where he's playing at Vegas, it ain't unusual. Then the aliens kind of invade his show and I guess kill his backup dancers, and I don't know. It's silly, weird stuff. I don't know. It's just this whole star-studded cast, and what I really like about it, when you compare it to, say, something like Independence Day, we know that Will Smith and Jeff Goldblum, they're going to save the day. Here, and again, I don't want to give too much away, but not all the characters in this movie survive. I'll say that. In fact, quite a few people get annihilated by the aliens. So it is like this kind of against your expectations type of invasion movie, which I really like. So I mean, it is unpredictable in this weird way. In the way, I'll say this. Well, guess what? They figure out a way to kill the aliens, and I think it's kind of a clever, silly, stupid thing that fits with the whole movie. So it's just this really stupid, ridiculous, but undeniably fun movie. And from Tim Burton, I mean, he has this great sense of fun and sense of oddness that he brings to every movie that he does. And of course, the Danny Elfman music. The music in this movie is just great. Just this kind of, it really sounds like every single kind of Martian movie you've ever seen, all kind of mixed into one. And there's some cool effects, even though they're like 90s CGI effects, but they're good. I really do think so. I enjoy this movie immensely. I think it's highly underrated. I would rate Mars Attacks 3.5 stars out of 4. This is hugely entertaining with an impressive cast that I love, and Tim Burton just really brings a sense of maniacal energy to the whole production. I love it. I honestly, I think it is among Tim Burton's very best movies. I think it's one of his riskiest movies, his most unpredictable movies, and damn, I wish we could have gotten a sequel to this. Particularly, I mean, I just love Jack Nicholson in his role playing the President of the United States. little people, why can't we all just get along? Of course, a line we hear in a lot of Tim Burton movies. Why can't we all just get along? Well, sometimes Martians just want to cause shit. So there's a lesson to be learned there. So I love the movie. It's probably on Netflix. Check it out. Definitely something that I think works better today than it did back then. So I'm sure the reviews for this movie, especially coming off Independence Day, were poor. I don't think this was a successful movie either, by the way. I think it was kind of a bomb. But definitely check it out. I love it. So that's my my review. Thanks so much for watching. Let me know what you think of Mars Attacks below. I'd love to hear your thoughts and see if I'm not the only one who absolutely loves this movie. But comment, rate, subscribe, all that good stuff. Visit Derek237.com. And until next time, I'll see you later. Ack ack.